You can't see it at night. Your first idea was great. Then you went downhill.
Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. Gonna tell another story I saw on the TV news. Yeah, a woman that worked at an alternative school, I guess some kind of private school or whatever, um, got arrested, if you will, for Westmoreland County, I believe, for, I guess, sitting by two particular underage male students, scrolling through dang truck making noise going by. I don't know if you hear that. Damn truck, get out of here. Jesus. All right, where was I? I don't know if how much of that truck in the background you're hearing louder, but all right, yeah, a woman scrolling. She was scrolling through her pictures, her own pictures that were kind of like nude and explicit and all that stuff, so they can see it. I mean, it's a different. You shouldn't even if you don't intend for them to see that stuff. But she was doing it on purpose. I mean, there's what people do with their own life. They want to take pictures of themselves. That's one thing. But when you're intentionally showing it to kids, what the hell they think is going to happen? Going to ruin their whole career and ruin their future chances from getting a job. What do they think, that nobody's going to get told about it, like that they're not going to tell? I mean, what does she have, some kind of idea in her head that she has some kind of, I don't know, other feelings about herself, insecurity or something, that she needs dudes younger, and she needs validation of hotness or some kind of thing, and needs to be validated by young kids who tell on her and get her in trouble. Dumbass thing. When there's plenty of men her age, if she wants to do that on her time and be in her business. But then again, too, if she goes on the internet, even if she don't go on the internet and do that shit, in certain lines of work, if they find out, even though it's your business, your personal life, if you're working with kids, they can, as it is, okay, they can fire you as it is. I mean, even if you don't show that to kids and you're doing shit like that, and taking pictures of yourself, certain kinds of work, because it's a reflection on the image, if you will, of the staff in a particular institution. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, dumbass. I mean, there's plenty of men her age to show that shit to. But then again, you show that to consenting adults and people of age, it has consequences too. The certain part of the world thinks it's okay, but it can have other effects on your life too, you know. But anyway, my guess, I had one guess here too, you know, that they don't have bunches of pictures like that of themselves unless they have an OnlyFans or something, you know what I mean? And in some dumb way, maybe they're trying to promote their OnlyFans, you know, maybe like had a very big, costly, dipshitted moment. You know, who knows? But well, she ought to be charged with felony stupidity. There should be a charge. There is no such charge of felony stupidity, but they should create one for a lot of different categories of things, really. But yeah, and you know what ought to happen to her? Like a butt spanking with a belt across the buttocks. A belt spanking over live national television. Cancel Big Brother and Survivor and Amazing Race and them dumbass shows anyway. They suck anyway. And give the public what they really want to see. Female police officers with belts, you know, standing over here for the left butt cheek and here for the right butt cheek. Give them the spanking of their life for a good solid hour over live national television. And it'll be sounding like firecrackers going off. Being damn stupid. I mean, anyway. But if you got this far in this video, too, here's another bit of information for you, too. I agree, this should be against the law. And I know our president has another thing I want to talk about real here that relates to shit like this. When authorities decide to prosecute people who do this shit, which they should be prosecuted, that's stupid. And I'm glad, we got a president that's against this here, what I'm going to talk about. When you prosecute people that do this, we should not have rules and special rules and laws that are contradictory to the law, which we had in the current administration. When you decide to punish something like this that's a crime against kids in a school or institution, no lawmaker should have the right to have any laws that are in the school that are contradictory. You know what I'm saying? Like enabling and allowing pornographic books in the school library, and school boards defending this shit, showing this shit to kids, which there's a lot of video footage. Fathers and mothers raising hell. I mean, LGBT material and like pornographic stuff, teaching kids about stuff, whether it's gay or straight, any kind of sexuality, taught the kids that, okay, your kids are not property of the school or the system or the state in that respect. And when you want to prosecute cases like this that I mentioned, you cannot or should not project to these criminals or give to them any kind of thing where they can say, hey, look, you're allowing pornography in the school libraries in the public schools, and you're allowing LGBT or other kind of sexual films being shown to kids, or and be what do you call it, those drag queens coming there and speaking to kids, or dancing around, or any kind of shit like that, or showing, films of any kind, or having, which our former Governor Wolf put as a health secretary, a man that was dressed as a woman, and I could tell you a lot about her too. In that video with she, it, and Rand Paul were debating that they were scrubbing off of YouTube, but a lot of us are putting it in other places. Fuck you. We got it up there. Rand Paul telling Levine, Rachel, aka Richard Levine, Levine was actually literally, Rand Paul was asking Levine about against, like, allowing underage kids to consent to sex changes, which, what kind of bullshit is that? Come on now. And let's see, whether it's in schools, colleges, institutions, or any kind of things like that, allowing, making it possible for any man out there to actually say that they're trans, just so they can walk into a girl's bathroom and shit like that, and just be a creep. I mean, if you're any kind of authority that defends and allows any man that decides to just decide that they're going to be a woman so they can go in a girl's bathroom and allow that, and shout down, demonize, and even want to prosecute and cancel anybody who is against that shit, then you're gonna prosecute people like this at the same time. It's contradictory. That's why I believe that our President Trump getting elected was revenge being served cold. He became president and he's against all that shit. Men dressed up as girls being in women's sports, men dressed up as girls going in girls' locker and bathrooms. You cannot defend and allow that shit and at the same time go and prosecute straight women or men. I mean, which they should be prosecuted, but you can't go say, I want to prosecute these for this, and then go and allow bullshit like this. So that's why I'm actually glad that Trump became president for some reason, and he wants to say no more of that, because we need to enforce the normalcy laws too, and not be putting people in as health secretaries who allow and enable mental illness and depravity and delusion. Somebody wants to be a girl and go in the girl's bathroom. And matter of fact, too, if you got this far in this video, if there was a dude dressed as a chick, if they want to do that as their own reason and they want to put themselves on OnlyFans and take pictures of themselves, and they show that to kids too, they shouldn't be doing that. Of course, they should be prosecuted too. But anyway, yeah, if you got this far in this video, yes, prosecute these people, but we're not going to have any respect for certain people as an authority if they prosecute that and turn around and allow and normalize certain kind of shit that leads to the same kind of shit, you know, as those people in transgender community and all that crap that they're doing. You know, I can go on, but just want to make that shit clear.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we have believed that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and to talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER. But you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't vote for you if you can't.
Thank you so much, Senator Paul. Senator Levine, thank you for answering the question. I will turn to Senator Baldwin.
Trying to get us out of here before Friday. With that, the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan, is recognized.
Mr. Horowitz, does Peter Strzok like the president?
I can only speak to what his text messages say, and they're obviously not positive comments about the president.
February, March of 2016, Peter Strzok said, Trump's abysmal, Trump's an idiot, he's a bleeping idiot, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. Sounds to me like he hates the president.
His text messages would certainly leave that as the implication.
Your report says Strzok ran the Clinton investigation on a daily basis. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
And Peter Strzok, in your report, he was the lead investigator on the Russian investigation. Is that true?
That's my understanding for the time period he was on it.
So the guy, he ran the Clinton investigation, he runs the Russian investigation, and he hates the president, but your report says while his bias cast a cloud, it didn't impact final decisions. Is that accurate?
It didn't impact the prosecutor's final decision.
Right. Let's look at a few other things Peter Strzok had to say. On May 4th, 2016, the day after President Trump secures the Republican nomination, Mr. Strzok says, now the pressure really starts to finish the Clinton investigation. I'm not sure why the pressure would be more or less the day after. It seems to me you want to just do the investigation. On July 31st, as I mentioned earlier, the FBI opens the Russian investigation. 1 week later, Peter Strzok says, I can protect my country on many levels. 2 days after that, he says, we will stop Trump. 1 week after that, he says, no way he gets elected. It's like an insurance policy. So think about this, Mr. Horowitz. Peter Strzok the FBI opens the Russia investigation on July 31st, 2016. Peter Strzok is the lead investigator. Within the next 15 days, he says, I can protect my country on many levels. No way he gets elected. We will stop him. We have an insurance policy. Now, that seems like, at least I think a lot of regular folks would interpret that as more than just casting a cloud on what the FBI ultimately did. I mean, it's one thing to say Trump's an idiot. It's another thing to say we got an insurance policy. It's one thing to say Trump's awful. It's another thing to say we're going to stop him, especially when those statements are made within 15 days, just days after you've launched an investigation into that individual. Would you agree?
And I think the important thing here is the time period we're talking about, because those messages in the July-August period, which we found extremely concerning and antithetical to the core values of the FBI, concerned, as we noted, the Russia investigation, and as you noted, and that's why we had so much concern about what occurred in late September and October.
Exactly. Mr. Horowitz, was Peter Strzok put on Special Counsel Mueller's team?
He was.
So again, the guy who hates the president, the guy who ran the Clinton investigation, the guy who ran the Russian investigation, then gets assigned to the special counsel team. Do you know Do you know what date, Mr. Horowitz, the special counsel was named?
I believe it was around May 17th.
May 17th, 2017. May 17th, 2017. Mr. Horowitz, do you remember what Peter Strzok said on May 18th, 2017?
I do. It's in our report on page 405.
I unleashed it on the mid-year exam, this one?
Yes.
Now I need to fix it and finish it. There's unfinished business, and this could be an investigation leading to impeachment. That's what he said the day after?
Correct.
Again, don't you think that sounds and looks a little bit like to regular Americans a little bit more than just casting a cloud on the overall investigations?
Again, I'd go back to what the report concerned, which was the Clinton email investigation, which was concluded about a year earlier with Director Comey's announcement. But it's precisely why we were concerned about what occurred in late September and October when Mr. Strzok had the choice between working on the Russia investigation or on the Wiener laptop Clinton investigation.
He was prioritizing one over the other.
Chose Russia.
Yeah. Let me just finish with this. And this is probably what bothers me. More than all what we just went through. More than that, probably what bothers me the most is Peter Strzok's attitude. I think it's what bothers Americans the most about this whole ordeal. I just want to go to one more text message one more thing Mr. Strzok said. This is back in that August time period again. August 26, 2016, Peter Strzok says, just went to a Southern Virginia Walmart. I can smell the Trump supporters. This is what ticks Americans off more than anything else. I'm convinced about all this in Clinton investigation, all this Russian investigation, is this idea that there are two sets of rules or two standards. One set of rules for us regular folk who shop at Walmart, but a different set if your name is Clinton, Comey, Lynch, McCabe, or if your name is Peter Strzok. And the arrogance and the condescension and the elitist attitude, that is what ticks people off. And as they look at all this and see what Strzok said throughout these investigations, that's why their confidence is so shaken. And frankly, that's why they're so mad. And that's why we got to get some answers from Mr. Rosenstein and Mr. Wray about this whole ordeal. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.
To the gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Jordan.
I thank the gentleman. Mr. Horowitz, James Comey, Director of the FBI, Andy McCabe, Deputy Director, Chief of Staff Jim Rubicki, General Counsel Jim Baker, FBI Counsel Lisa Page, and Deputy Head of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok. These were 6 important people at the FBI, is that right?
Correct.
And they were the key players on the Clinton investigation and on the Russian investigation, correct?
They were certainly important on both.
Has Mr. Comey been fired?
Yes.
Has Mr. McCabe been fired?
Yes.
Did Mr. McCabe lie under oath, according to your report?
In our view, yes.
Yeah. Is there a criminal referral for Mr. McCabe?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Has Mr. Rubicki left the FBI?
Yes.
Has General Counsel Jim Baker left the FBI?
Yes.
Was he removed from his position prior to leaving the FBI?
I'm not sure of that.
Has Lisa Page left the FBI?
Yes.
Was she reassigned prior to leaving the FBI?
I believe so.
And has Peter Strzok been removed from his position as Deputy Head of Counterintelligence?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Horowitz, you've been in the DOJ for 10 years. You've been Inspector General for 6 years. You're chief of all the Inspector Generals. Have you ever seen anything like this at any other federal agency in your time in the federal government? 6 of the top people fired, demoted, reassigned, or left?
I obviously can't speak broadly to other areas that I haven't known before, but yes, this is.
I've been in this town 11 and a half years. I've never seen anything like this. Even the IRS scandal didn't come close. Never. And again, this is not in any type of reflection on the rank and file agents who I know you respect, we all respect, and do a great job. But these were the 6 key people. I have never seen anything like this in my time in government. My guess is there's not a person on this dais who has as well.
Gentleman's time has expired.